Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my weekly talk. Today it is Sunday, February 4th. Oops. Sunday, February 4th, 2024. Just want to recap quickly kind of what's been going on this week. Not a whole lot to report. Last week it's been pretty rainy and storming, and so a lot of my actual day job work, CalTrans, roadway, drainage, hydraulics, we've been super busy with like emergency projects and then minor B projects that were kind of in limbo for a while, just suddenly came back onto the board and trying to finalize some of those up. And then all these broadband projects, I'm got like, I swear to God, over 10. And yeah, there's various levels of studies that we need to do for them, and so it's just and not to mention the weather, whenever it's raining and storming like it's been the last week or so, a lot of atmospheric river wind, rain, so that means there's going to be a lot of flooding, and that's always comes back to us at some point. So yeah, just trying to stay level-headed of all that stuff. But unfortunately, it kind of cuts into the time I can spend working on this side project here. And just want to kind of recap. So, this is the first week in February, and the goals are still the same to try and get user authentication with profiles set up and emails verification. So, having email distribution and so just kind of want to touch base on that. Starting with the email situation, I'm going through Porkbun. I moved all my domains over last month, or no, it was December or January, I can't remember. But moved them all from Google domains because they were bought up by Squarespace. And Google domains, I really liked the service. It worked so well. And unfortunately, Porkbun, it looks very similar. I, I was trying to set everything up with on AWS, so the DNS would be pointed to my application and domain on AWS Route 53. So I had to copy over the Porkbun settings and put in the A names and all that good stuff into Route 53. And the console looks exactly like Google domains, so it seemed pretty simple to do. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't work. But I just want to shout out to the guys at Porkbun. They've been super responsive, and just even through email, helping me to show what could possibly be wrong and helping me change the settings. Fortunately, I don't know what's the matter just yet. But yeah, it's just weird that AWS, the Route 53 just doesn't play very nice. Google Domains was so nice and simple, like it just worked. And I don't know about AWS, things just are wonky, and it looks like things should work, but they don't. And kind of wish Google Domains had stayed with, and stayed an active project, but it's like so many other great Google products, it was almost inevitable that they just weren't going to keep going. And it's just sad, but it is what it is, and this is just a new reality. Hopefully, we can get this all resolved, sometime this month, ideally this week. I've been kind of emailing them a little bit, but I've been admittedly a little slow to the uptake, so shout out to guys again at Porkbun. They've been even more responsive than I have to them. So yeah, I just want to keep following up on that. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was kind of the whole AWS ecosystem in general. Like, just doing some background research, digging into the products and services, and looking on YouTube, seeing some like tutorials and guys who actually use this or work there and how they kind of set things up. There's this guy on YouTube I've been following recently. I think his name is like something Otter. I should probably double check that. It's like Focus Otter. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Got a lot of good AWS videos. I guess he's like part of their core team member, and yeah, his stuff is really great for beginners. I've been kind of watching some of them here and there, but it's there's so many different services, and I feel like people make it sound like it's so easy. Just hook this one up to that one, and then this, and then you have this whole pipeline for your application where you connect A, B, C, and D. Like you start with AWS Cognito to do your authentication and multi-form factor for all your different, whether it be Google, Facebook, email, yada yada, and then it connects to your IAMS roles, and you have your user pool with different types of, I don't know, responsibilities and roles, and then you can hook it up to your app sync using AWS Lambdas, and then you can access your DynamoDBs and your S3 and wrap it all together with Amplify, or if you don't like that, you can use the AWS CloudForm CDK. So this is super overwhelming. And as someone who just wants to focus on, the front end and making the actual application look cool, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Cats just are begging to come back in. So yeah, they're that kind of the stars of the videos most of the time. But yeah, anyways, what else? Kind of before I lost my train of thought. There's just so many different applications, and the whole ecosystem is super confusing. It's like each service is a huge library of different API references and documentation and developer guides. It's just pretty overwhelming for someone who's new and just wants to focus on the front end and making the user interface. I enjoy making GUIs, even though I'm not the most artistic and design. I just like making practical user interfaces that people can intuitively use, and that's simple and clean-ish. I'll probably have to go back and get someone that's better at design and making things look prettier to pretty it up, but that's where I enjoy doing the most of coding. So having to learn going headfirst into all this whole AWS ecosystem, I guess that's what they call full stack engineers or something. And hey there. Okay. This guy, little guy, he's getting into trouble. But yeah, it's just so much to go through, and it's a pain in the butt. AWS is not the most user friendly from just my experience. It's a lot of iteration, so I'll start reading some of the documentation, try and copy and paste it into my code, and edit it to make it work with the rest of my application. Run into some errors, go back to the documents, try and figure out what's wrong. Usually scratch my head, and then I'll go look at some of the default examples that they have, which are like 2 or 3 years old, outdated, so you don't even know if they work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And then I'll go back to like Google and then look up on Stack Overflow if they've got solutions to like my random errors that I have no idea what's going on, and no one really to ask that I know of, because I'm not really in this whole tech space and just kind of winging it as I go. And then, after I go through all that, the developer guides, the API references, I've been paying AWS $100 a month for their business support. To credit them though, at least when you have like issues, you can create a case. It feels like doing like a Jira snow ticket sort of thing where you just like, hey, tech help support, and eventually, like a day later or something, if you're lucky, you can talk to someone. It's kind of annoying. You got to go through their whole Jira process and then um, uh, work with their bot first. It's like they got a chat bot, and not the greatest. But when you get to talk to a person, and try and explain to them, and it's just like it's really tough because it's like someone new every time. You gotta like get them up to speed with what the issues are and what problems you're facing, and try to help them understand, where you're coming from, um, and they're gonna tell you all the simple stuff that most likely you already did, which is like, oh, look at did you read this document? I'm like, yeah, I did that. I tried this. I tried that. And sometimes the problem could be as simple as, oh, I had the wrong, I am rule policy. Like I forgot to include read write on the entire domain. I didn't do a star, which is probably bad for security reasons, and stuff like that. It's just um, little things that could totally trip up the whole application, and it's really annoying, but it is good that they do have good customer support, which I didn't really find with Google. So, I mean, Google, I was looking at their, Firebase is their kind of their equivalent, their GCP platform. They got their own stuff going on there. But uh, if you look at the documents, I really like their documents over there, and their simple examples. It works. It's great. But obviously, their simple use cases don't really cover everything that you'll need, and so especially when it comes down to things like what do you call it? Querying your databases. Um, Even just storing the information, like it was just, I mean, not that I figured it out how to do it in AWS DynamoDB just yet, but S3 is super easy. So it's like, first step, just throw it into a bucket. It's basically like an FTP server, and you're just pinging it, and hey, that's the easiest thing you can do. And Firestore, it's not bad, but it's you've got limitations, and there's always all these horror stories like, oh, if you don't set up your Firebase whole system, you could be in for like a six-figure bill, which I cannot afford. um, and so at least AWS, it sounds like from what I've read, there's a lot more control. You can manage alerts and things. I'm not quite there yet, and S3 is really cheap, so I'm not too worried about that. And so yeah, I mean, just kind of chipping away. Like I said, it's just the first week of February, and um, just gonna be, hopefully, if I can get something put together this week. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a busy week. It's gonna be a storming week. But yeah, I'll just kind of see what happens, I guess. And next weekend is going to be like Chinese New Year's, and it's going to be the Super Bowl. So admittedly, I probably won't be doing too much coding or, anything project related. But just, yeah, trying to chip away at this during the week when I can. And also taking some time to, take care of my overall health and stuff. So just, yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on this week and next week. So thanks for tuning in, and see y'all next week. Thanks.